Hello Sumeti, welcome to another beautiful video tutorial. So we'll be learning how to make this trending tube corset with sweetheart neckline. You can see how nice it is on my body. Now the fabric I use in this video, they are not durable. I didn't add hairstay or anything to it because it was just for the purpose of the tutorial. And you can see that I could not even lace it properly because I did the lacing myself. So you can see how nice it is on my body. This is the inside of it and it is carrying bust caging on the inside. I'll be showing us how I achieved all of it and the looping rope. If this is like what you want to know how to make, you can stick around. Let's get started. I'm using the excellent satin fabric. I have my wadding and I have my boning. Okay, so as you can see, I don't have fiber. I'm not using fiber and it still came out well. So let's get started. So the first thing I did on my paper is to get my chest line measurement. I got the apex measurement, I got the under bust, and I got the waistline. The normal waistline I'm using here now that I marked is 15.5. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and rule all of the lines across. I'll rule the chest line, I will rule the apex, which is also known as the bust point, okay? Then the under bust, okay? Then the waistline, which is 15 inches, 2 inches away from the under bust is the waistline. But I'm going to extend the waistline by an extra 2 inches because of the bust that will be taken away. Okay, so now the normal waistline I marked is 15.5. I've now extended it to 70.5, which is the new line I marked. Okay, so you see where I'll be labeling as W is the new waistline. So now the full length of the blouse is 24.5. So but you know I'm marking extra 2 inches from it, so I'm going to add to the paper. Okay, so I went ahead to take my shoulder measurement on the shoulder line and on the chest line, and I connected. My shoulder measurement is 7.5 after dividing it by 2. Then I went ahead to take my 3 inches by 3 inches for the neckline, 3 inches for the depth, 3 inches for the width. I did half inch for shoulder slope. All of this is not needed actually, but if you're really not that familiar with your pattern, it serves as a guide, okay, so you don't get confused. That's why I am doing it. So I went ahead connecting the shoulder line, the neckline and the shoulder slope. I got the midpoint of the armhole line and I came in by half inch. Okay, so I went ahead to impute my bust measurement, which is 10 inches, and I connected from the 10 inches I marked. I connected straight to the half inch I came in with. So I'm going to add paper to the lower part of it to extend the length. Okay, so now this is the normal 24 inches for the full length of the blouse I'm working with. Okay, but I'm going to add extra 2 inches like I said because of the, you see the extra 2 inches I added to the waistline. Now I'm going to be transferring it to the lower part because that 2 inches will be creasing it away for the bust. That you'll be wondering why I'm using my pencil and why it's so faint is because I'll be transferring the star lines. By the time I'm done creating, I'll be transferring the star lines according to how I want them. So by the time I do that, I'm going to wipe the pencil and use my marker to make it very pronounced for us to see. But so that you don't get confused, that's why I'm not using my marker at this point. So now the front normal full length for the blouse is 24 inches plus 2 inches. Now it's now giving me 26.5. It's 24.5 plus 2 inches is giving me 26.5. So I'm going to rule a straight line, which is my nipple to nipple measurement, divide by 2 to connect my dart line straight from the chest line to the full length of the blouse. Then on the upper part, I went ahead to mark 4 inches or so. I extended the dart line straight to the neck line part, the shoulder part of the paper. So after that, on the upper part, I marked 1 inch to the left and 1 inch to the right to connect the shoulder dart. Okay, so we need the shoulder dart on it. We are taking shoulder dart. So after doing that, the next thing I'm going to do now is to impute my dart intake. Now my dart intake is 2.5. Okay, I divided it into 2 equal parts. Okay, into 2 equal parts because I'm doing equal dart. Then I marked it on both sides equally. Then I'm just going to connect with my pencil. Don't mind the fact that the pencil is coming out faint. You will see the reason why I am doing this soon, so that I don't confuse you. I went ahead to connect with my curve ruler to, can you see what I'm doing? You see exactly how I'm placing the curve ruler. That's how you should place yours to connect it properly. So now, after doing that, now the next thing we are going to be doing now is to go ahead and impute the actual measurement. So my normal waist measurement is 8.5 plus 2.5. Do you get? I'm not adding the 2.5 to it. You understand? So after that, I will do the same thing for the hip line. I'm just connecting from the chest line to the waistline measurement. Then the bust dart, which is the side dart, I came down by 2 inches. You see the extra 2 inches we added to the full length of the blouse. That's what I came down with to reconnect. Then on the lower part, I went to impute my hip measurement. I added the 2.5 inches for that intake, and I added extra 1.5 because it meant I did not want it to be fitted on the hip line. Okay, that's why I added extra 1.5 to give an opening. In case you want to sit down, you can sit down very well with it. Okay, so now after doing that, you see this dart line. Now we have to create another star line. Okay, so now I came in by 1.5 of an inch from the center of the paper, right? So I'm going to connect another dart line to that 1.5. So the 2.5 for that intake, now we now start from the new star line. So I will mark the 2.5 and I will reconnect it. Can you see what I'm doing? So this is why I use the pencil for it, so we don't get confused. Now I'm just cross checking 2.5 if it's accurate and it's accurate. So I'm going to wipe out the first line I created with the pencil because it is no longer needed. After wiping it now, I will go ahead now and label it. Okay, so I'm going to mark another star line. Okay, now you can decide to have as many star line as you want, because you know this corset, it has a lot of boning on it, right? But like I said, this one is for the purpose of a tutorial, so I didn't create more bony channel. So please, you can do more on your own. Don't limit it to just few like I am doing in this video, because what I realized from the video is that the more boning you have, the more structure it gives to you. Okay, so I've created another star line and I used 1/2 inch to tighten it. Don't forget that all of this has been added to my normal waist measurement. So I went ahead to highlight all the lines. You can see that you cannot see it properly. So for me to determine the depth of the neckline, I came down by 6 inches. So I wanted to connect it straight to the midpoint of the neckline, but I decided to come up a bit so that it can give me the curve. Now you can see that the curve on my own is not that much. Do you know why? I am very busty. The moment I drop it below where it is, all of my boobs will be outside. So you see that when you see it on other people, most people that are wearing this thing, they are not so busty. Okay, so when you're making your own, make sure you don't go too low, okay, for the neckline. If not, you will not even be able to wear it. Your boobs will be popping out. Okay, so that's why I came down by 6 inches and I connected. If you can see what I'm doing, right? I've gone ahead to close the bust dart. Now it is time to close the shoulder dart. Okay, so you fold it this way. You can see that the lines are no longer equal. But before we close this place properly, the extra 2 inches we used for the shoulder dart, we have to return it. Okay, because by the time you cut 2 inches away, it's not going to be enough for your shoulder measurement anymore, and it's not going to fit into you. Okay, so go ahead and return it. I marked the 2 inches ahead, then I just used my curve ruler to connect from the 2 inches I marked straight to the armhole curve. You just place it properly with your curved ruler. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing. Like I said, if you're very busty and you go lower than this, your boobs are going to be outside. If you're not so busty I will say you should come up from the chest line. You can come up by 1 inch, or you from the neckline go down by 7 inches, right? It will fit you. But if you're very busty, don't do more than 6 inches, okay? So that at least you can put it on properly and you can be comfortable with it. But if you are the type that like exposing your boobs, it's fine. You can go as low as you want it. So this is me creasing the shoulder dart, and after that I'm going to reconnect the line. This is the reason why I am creasing, because if I should go ahead and cut it like that, it will not come out equally. Okay, so after reconnecting the neckline for the front pattern, the next thing I will have to do now is to do waist snatching. I used 3/4 of an inch in total, which make the total number of inches I snatched for the waist 3 inches. So I marked it, then I went ahead to connect it from the chest line straight to the 3/4 of an inch I marked. At this point, I made a mistake. I went ahead to connect it straight to the lower part, which is not meant to be so. So I'm going to explain this properly when we are snatching the back waistline. Okay, so this is me snatching it. There's no point explaining it anymore because you will not understand it with all the lines I have already drawn on it. But when we get to the back pattern, I'm going to explain it very well for us. That is if you don't know how to snatch your waist correctly. So now the waist is snatched. So another thing I thought to do was, like, I felt like the opening on the lower part is too big, so I removed about ½ inch away from it. So it will mean that the extra inch I added for the opening on the hip is going to be just 1 inch instead of 1.5. So I went ahead to cut everything open. Then after that, you can see, you can watch the way I am doing it. You can see how I'm doing it. Then after that, on this the side part, I'm just going ahead to label it 1, 2, and 3, because so that you don't mistake one for another. So this is the back pattern. I've already gotten the chest line and the waistline. So I went ahead to impute my bust measurement. I got the midpoint of the armhole curve line. Then I'm just connecting straight to the armhole curve to the bust measurements that I have gotten. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'll determine my waistline measurement. I added extra 1 inch for that intake. Okay, then on the hip line, I input my hip measurement, and I added extra 1 inch for the opening. You know, the one for the front now has now gone back to 1 inch as I remove extra ½ inch from it. So I'm going to connect with my curve ruler like this. If you're still watching at this point and you're confused at any point, I'm here for you. Ask questions and I will answer. So I went ahead to mark my 4 inches for the first star line. Then from there, I went in by 2.5 of an inch. So with all the markings, now I'm going to extend it to the lower part and on the upper part. Then I'm going to connect with my straight ruler. Now, don't forget that on the waistline, I only added 1 inch extra for that intake. So I'm going to share the 1 inch of both lines, which will give me ½ inch to tighten both star lines. So the ½ inch is 1/4 of an inch on each side. Okay, so I'm going to connect it straight. You can see what I'm doing to do the tightening, the dart intake. So it's it's 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, which make it total of ½ inch on each star line. So on the upper part, I decided to come up by 1 inch so that it is not too open. If you're making a tube top, if you make the back too low, it doesn't really fit you that much. Okay, so you can see me increasing it by 1 inch. Then I'm reconnecting the lines to connect the dart legs properly. So after doing that, now the next thing we'll be doing now is to do the waist snatching. Now you understand this part very well because I took my time. Then I'm just going to blend this other part very well to blend with the armhole line. So after that, we will go ahead to snatch the waist. Now you will come in by 3/4 of an inch like we did for the front pattern. Connect a straight line from the chest line. Then come down by 3.5 of an inch and marked on the waistline. Rule about 1 inch downwards. pick your pattern master ruler, connect from that 1 inch you came down with to the 3.5, then you blend it. That's all. No big deal. That's all. So after blending it like this, you've succeeded in snatching your waist correctly. So now after that, I'm just going to label it also like I did for the front pattern, so I do not make any mistake. So I will just go ahead and I'm cross-checking the full measurement, which is 24.5. So I went ahead to cut. Another thing I will advise you to do, if you're not so tall, don't make yours so long. It could be 23 or 22, right? Because it's a corset, you want to be able to sit properly. So this is the front and the back already drafted out. So for me, I felt like the other star line for the front was not straight enough. So I went ahead to tape it back down, okay, so that I can rule a straight line and connect it straight, right? So it's something I would have done while I was drafting it, but I didn't take note of that. So this is me making a straight line. Now, like I said, the star lines I've made for this particular corset, they are very few, okay? They are very few. So I will advise you add a lot, okay? The front can have like 7, 8 in total, because that's how these corsets are made. They have so many bony channel. So you should do same with yours. The more bony channel you have, the more structure it becomes. But I did this one for the purpose of the tutorial. I'm not wearing it anywhere, so that's why I didn't bother using so much bony on it, and it still came out well. So I came up by 1 inch from the side of the pattern, so that at least when you want to sit down, it's not going to just hook you, okay? You have the space, this allowance to be able to sit properly with it. So after doing that, I'm repeating the same thing for the back pattern, because of course they have to be the same. They have to be equal lengths, okay? So I went ahead to do that and I cut. Now the front and the back pattern is ready. The next thing I went to cut on my fabric, and this is it on the fabric. The front pattern, you know it is cut on fold. For the center front is cut on fold. I'm just going to remove the pin and show us what it looks like. Then I added half an inch all through. If you see the pattern on the table, there is half an inch on every part of it. Then on the side, there is 1.5 of an inch. This is the center. By the time I spread it open, you can see that I cut it on fold. So we are going to continue from here in the next video, which is the sewing part. I'm going to be explaining everything in details, how I sew, how I sewed it, how I did the caging and everything is going to be in the part 2 of the video. Um, if you're watching to this part, I want to say a very big thank you for your love and for your support, because I won't be here without you. So now that we've gotten to this point, we will continue in the part 2 of the video. Bye.